Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming up today. My old subscribers, thank you. And to those that are viewing for the first time or that have not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. And to my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please don't forget to hit on the like button. Friends, you see, this is where someone used his own power to treat a fellow human being in a very reckless way. Sometimes in life where you see some people are in charge or are heading a particular position, they misuse power on people. Some use it rightly, but some don't. And in this case, it is happening that the police has been ordered by an Akwa Ibom State High Court in Uyo to pay a sum of 4 million naira compensation. And this is because a police identified as Chief Superintendent of Police Celestine Ume detained and tortured his lover's husband after he caught him sleeping with his wife. This is why I said some people misuse their powers in a very, very wrong way. This a businessman identified as Clement Asukwo was arrested, detained and tortured for 3 days after he caught the chief superintendent Ume at night in his matrimonial home at Aba Upo Estate in Uyo with his own wife. You see how some people can get themselves involved into something that is wrong, and at the same time, instead of you trying to pacify or plead with the other person, you feel that you are in charge, you are the superintendent, you have every power, you have every right to do whatever you want to do, knowing fully well that what he did was completely wrong. And Etim, that is the husband of his lover who was tortured, was represented by his Lagos-based human rights lawyer, that's Effiong, in the lawsuit stated that Ume, who is now the divisional police officer in charge of Itu Division in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, violated his fundamental rights to private life and his family's life. And he has cited that the Nigerian constitution, when he intruded into his matrimonial home in his absence at Aba Upo Estate in Uyo to be with his own wife, Mrs. Loretta Asuko Etim, because it's totally wrong. One, you went into another man's house to be with his own wife in their matrimonial home. Isn't that wrong enough? Not to make matters worse, he was having an affair and sleeping with his own wife on their own matrimonial bed. How bad and terrible can that be? You look and see how this superintendent even acted. You know you've done something wrong. Instead of you to plead with this woman's husband, try to make it right with him, you went ahead to torture this man all because you feel you are in power, you are the superintendent, and you have the right to do whatever you want to do. No, there are limits. You don't have the right to be with another man's wife. The authority didn't give you that power to invade another man's home, because that's invasion of privacy. Because the man has also cited that even in the Nigerian constitution, it's against the law completely. You have invaded his privacy and also his family's privacy, because his wife belongs to him. You have no right to go over another man's wife. And so the superintendent now used his own authority to capture this man and then deal with him. But unknown to him that this man was not going to keep quiet, Etim had to go further to sue him and even get his own lawyer. Justice Charles Ikpe, in his judgment on the case, held that the police violated the fundamental rights of the applicant, that's Etim, to personal liberty by detaining him for 3 days without justification, and also violated his right to dignity by torturing him. Isn't that terrible? You caught this man and you didn't just keep him or lock him up, you now tortured him. Ikpe also found Ume guilty of violating the fundamental right of the applicant to private and family life by intruding into his matrimonial home without his consent. Also, the judge who restrained the police from arresting the applicant except by the order of a court ordered the Nigerian Police Force and the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner of Police to pay the sum of 4 million as compensation to the businessman. You can see where this whole thing has landed the superintendent to doing. Right now, he is now demanded to pay 4 million naira to him. One, he violated his human right as a person because you are sleeping with his own wife and he caught you red-handed. You now decided that you will punish him for catching you with his own wife. Isn't this so messy and so terrible? Is this superintendent not meant to even go on his knees begging this man and even asking the man to keep short, not to let the public know? He now felt he has the right to do whatever he wants to do. You slept with his wife, that wasn't enough. You now decided that you are going to torture this man for opening up his mouth and letting you know that what you are doing outrightly is wrong. Well, some people are even saying that the 4 million is even too small, that the court should have even asked the superintendent to pay like 50 or 100 million to this particular businessman for torturing him and even sleeping with his wife, because he has committed two big offenses. One, taking another man's wife. Two, invading the man's matrimonial home, and then you felt it was your right to do because you are a superintendent of the police force, and so nobody can stop you from doing whatever you want to do, even if you are going against another person's rights. You see that it's not everybody you can mess around with and you go scot-free. He felt he's the superintendent and torturing this man would make the man keep quiet, unknown to him that this man will still stand up for what he knows is right. After torturing him, he had to go and ensure that he would sue the superintendent and make sure that he is being held responsible for this horrible act he has committed. It's very horrible. You don't go ahead and then snatch another man's wife and then sleep with the man's wife and you feel the man should just keep quiet. No, not all men would just watch that, even though he has the power and the authority as his position being a superintendent doesn't make it a right for him to take up his own wife. And the question is, what kind of a wife is this? Your husband is away for business and then you feel the best thing for you to do is to allow another man into your matrimonial home. You see, this is where some women are just so not contented with their own husbands. Look at the husband is out there trying to make ends meet for the family. Instead of this woman to find a way to support him one way or the other, either get herself involved in another business or to find something doing, instead she preferred to go ahead and sleep with another man on her own matrimonial bed. What respect is she giving to her husband by doing that? Who knows how it's going to end for herself and her husband, because the husband is so upset right now. One, he was even tortured because of her. Although they didn't indicate here what the man has done to his wife, either he's separating with his wife or his wife is going to face consequences. That was not declared or shown or stated. But we watch and see what happens to the wife, because a man who has caught his own wife red-handed and as a result of that was tortured for 3 whole days, that's too much. That was so bad and wrong for this superintendent. He should have known better. And the wife now violated the sacred vow of marital connection, which is you to keep yourself for your husband alone, and your matrimonial bed should be for you and your husband alone and not an outsider. As far as they are concerned, the superintendent was an intruder. Yes, he actually intruded into another man's home. Even though the wife consented to it, it's not like she was forced. No, not at all. She agreed that the superintendent should come over to her matrimonial home and then have this affair with her, not minding that her husband was away, and he can even come into the house at any time. He came in unexpectedly. The wife did not even know that the husband was coming. And you can see how messy the whole thing turned out to be. He caught his own wife red-handed. Some women are not just satisfied. Some women are so greedy to the point that they forget the respect and the regard they should have for their own husbands. This would serve as a lesson to a lot of men and women out there that are cheating on their spouse. The superintendent was also cheating on his own wife, and see how it ended. And the businessman, that's Etim's wife, was cheating on him, and look at how the whole thing ended. Both of them exposed openly in public. Now the wife is ashamed of herself, likewise the superintendent. The worst thing you should do to your spouse is to cheat on your spouse. Both the man and the woman. Nobody is justified for cheating. Once you have taken that matrimonial vows to be together, you have no eyes for another man, neither do you have any eyes for another woman. You all should learn to be together. If you can't continue with the marriage and things are happening, seek for help to resolve issues rather than seeking for help in the arms of another man or another woman. You can see it didn't end up well for the superintendent. Coughing out 4 million, it's not 100,000, it's not 500,000. And you can see that some people are not even happy that the 4 million is just too small, because the offense he has committed is a very big offense. You didn't just sleep with another man's wife, you at the same time tortured the man. You see how some people have misused authority, misused their powers. He felt he's a superintendent and he has the right to do whatever he wants to do. And he now used it to torture this poor innocent businessman who only came to let you know that what you are doing is wrong. He caught you red-handed. It's not enough for this superintendent to even go on his knees begging and trying to see how he can compensate the man quietly. You know, he didn't even think very well before carrying out this act of torture. If he was very reasonable, knowing that he's been caught red-handed in an act that is completely wrong, he should have called this man one side, sat him down and talked to him that please he should not let this out and let them settle it amicably amongst themselves. Probably Etim would have accepted. Whatever he would have done with him, it should have been in the closet, and maybe the superintendent may have quietly paid him some amount of money to keep him shut, and then that would have ended. But Etim, knowing that this was his own right, he didn't let the superintendent to torture him in vain. He had to still come out and expose him. Look at how the whole thing came out very messy and embarrassing. A whole superintendent of police caught in bed with another man's wife in the man's home, and the man himself caught you. And instead of you to be humble and see how you can resolve it there and there, you decided that you would torture the man for sleeping with his own wife. Isn't that bad enough? Well, friends, what do you all have to say about this? A superintendent of police sleeping with another man's wife in the man's home, and the man caught him red-handed. He now decided to torture the man. Do you think him torturing the man would have kept the man shut? And do you think that was the right approach? Or do you think he would have done it another way to make this whole thing die silently? Friends, whatever you think would have been the right approach to a very sensitive issue like this, please, you could put that down at the comment section. Friends, thank you for coming up today. Please don't forget to hit on the like button. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Thank you. God bless you all.